Building a user interface is only half the battle. The real magic happens when that interface starts talking to your database. And to make that happen, you need to set up the right logic in your actions. Hi there, I'm Joey, and in this video we'll look at how to use the create and update action steps to manage your data. Why do we use create and update steps? When a user interacts with your app, they expect their changes to be saved instantly. The create and update steps are how you tell BettyBlocks exactly what to do with the information that's been given by users. The create step is used for brand new entries. It takes the input from your page and generates a completely new record in your model. The update step is used when you need to modify something that's already there. It finds a specific record and replaces the old information with the new data provided by the user. By combining these steps with your page components, you create a seamless flow where data is always accurate and up to date. Now let's take a look at how it works. The fastest way to set this up is right here inside of the page builder using form components. And to create some data, we're going to use the create form. We're going to drag it onto our page, and as you can see, a small wizard pops up. Here you can select the model for which you want to create some data. In our case, this is the project model. Now a few properties show up, and this is the information that your users will have to fill in when filling in this form. In our case, we want the users to fill in the name, the description, the end date, and whatever web user will be the lead for this project. Then we're going to press save, and as you can see, Betty creates this beautiful form for us. Now let's take a look at the action behind this form. So select the whole form component, and here you see the linked action, and by pressing the pencil we go to the action. Now that we're inside the action, you can see three steps: start, create record, and finish. First, let's take a look at start. Here you can see some input variables, which is the data that a user fills in when filling in this form. In our case, it's the description, end date, name, and web user that we have configured when setting up our form. Now if we go a little bit to the right here, you can see the references. And here you can see all the components that this action is linked to. Now if we go to the create record step, you can see the model that's been selected when we set up our form and the properties that we selected. And here at the value you can see the input variables that you saw at the start step. And then of course at finish is where the action will be done. Then we have this blue logo, and well, as you can see, form component changes are automatically synced to the value mapping in this step. Now that may sound a little bit difficult, but what it actually means is when you update the form, this create record step will also automatically update, which is very nice, so you don't have to manually do it after you are updating your forms. Now let's test out this action. We're going back to our page, and let's compile this page. Alright, now that the page has compiled, we're going to create a new project. So for the name, we're going to name it Project 1. For the description, we're going to write a short description. The end date will be at the end of this month, and the web user will be the web user with ID 4. Now we're going to submit this form, and let's take a look at our project overview to see if it actually worked. And well, as you can see here, project 1 has been created. Now that you know how to create some new data, it's also time to tell you how to modify the data. And to modify this data, you'll use the update form. This is usually placed on a detail page or an edit page. If you don't know how to set one up, we have some videos covering this, and again, it's also covered in the essential path. The key step here is telling the form which record to grab. So you'll use a filter on the form that matches the ID from your page to the form. And I'll quickly show you how to do this. So we're going to drag in a new component, and this time we're going to use the update form. Drag it onto our page. Our data is coming from another page. We're going to select the project model, and we want the users to be able to update the name, description, end date, and the status this time. We're going to save, and as you can see, just like with the create form, Betty already created a new form for us. Now we're going to select the whole update form. As you can see again, there's an action behind it. We'll take a look at it in just a bit, but first we're going to set up this filter. So press on update filter and make sure that your project ID equals the ID that you have set up for your detail page. In our case, it's project ID, the very first one. We're going to apply it and save. Now let's take a quick look at the action behind it and how it differs from the create. Alright, now that we're inside of the update action, let's take a look at how it differs from the one we had when we were creating some data. And the only real big difference here is in the start step. Because this time in the input variables, there's also this record object, which is basically the ID that we're passing through to the action to make sure that it only updates the data that we want it to update. So only the project we are currently updating. Because if you take a look at the update record, it is still very much the same as in the create form. Alright, well, we're going back to our page and we're going to test it out. We're going to compile again. And well, this is a normal error because the page doesn't have an ID yet. So let's tell to get number 3. Well, there is no number 3, so we're going to the project overview. We're going to the project that we just created, project 1, and we're going to the info page, which in our case is the detail page. And here you can see the data from the detail page. And let's update, for example, the name. So instead of project 1, we're going to name it update project. The description will become a very long description. And you know what? This deadline, it's way too far. Let's set it at the start of the same week. And well, currently we're in progress and we're going to update this project. Now we haven't made it beautiful yet so that it automatically updates. So let's refresh this page. And as you can see, a new name, a new description, the end date has been updated and the project status is now in progress. And if we go back to the project overview, you can see that it has all been updated. So let's quickly recap. Use the create step to add some new information to your app and use the update step to modify existing records. Mastering these two steps is the quickest way to turn a static page into a functional data-driven application. Thanks for sticking with me, and I'll see you in the next video.